You can't take the teacher out of an old teacher. So here I am again back at the whiteboard. And what I wanted to talk about this morning was what's happening with the unit market in Brisbane, because there's so many different opinions out there. Do we have an oversupply? Is it stagnation? Is there an undersupply? So I thought, let's have a look at some research that is done by a highly respected researcher, Michael Matusik. And this research, incidentally, is also supported by the Real Estate Institute of Queensland latest market facts. And I tend to put a lot more emphasis on their research because they're based in Brisbane and they're in what I call the front line of the market. So they're seeing things happening right now, whereas most research you look at is historical and it's happening 3 to 4 months after the event. So I thought I'd just talk about Brisbane apartments today, and what I've got here is a property clock that Michael Matusik is very well known for. And if you look at it, the top of the clock is you've got your peak of the market, the bottom, the trough. Here's your recovery sitting at about 5 to 6 o'clock. Here's your upswing sitting at about 8 to 9 o'clock. Downturn sitting on the other side about 1 to 2 o'clock, and then you've got your stagnation sitting at around 4 to 5 o'clock. So if we look at what Michael Matusik is saying, at the moment he's saying if you look in the Brisbane western suburbs where we've got the least supply of new units coming into the market, units actually in the Brisbane West are in what's called a recovery mode according to Matusik. And I tend to agree, units are very good buying in this area and there's not a lot of overbuilding. Where we're seeing some softness in units, of course, is for investors where their rental returns have dropped by between 5 and 10%. So if you're an investor, you're not going to get that same return that you got even 2 years ago. But the good thing is the western suburbs in Brisbane, according to the REIQ data, which says there's very little stock in the western suburbs, and Matusik also confirming that as saying that he believes we're in recovery mode. If you look at the upswing area, Matusik's actually saying South Brisbane is in an upswing area. There's a lot of properties going into South Brisbane unit-wise at the moment, but it is being absorbed at this point of time. So that is still working quite well, and I think it's because of its proximity to the city. Also, he includes, by the way, the Gold Coast and the Sunshine Coast there, who are in strong unit markets as well. If we look at the peak of the market, it's definitely Brisbane's eastern suburbs, areas like Coorparoo, Carina. Those areas are doing extremely well at the moment. If we look at what's coming off the market, according to Matusik, it's North Brisbane, and that also includes areas in particular like Kelvin Grove, Kedron, Bowen Hills, and even coming into that Newstead and Hamilton area. There is definitely an oversupply in that area, and that is where we are going to see some issues with prices, and the rents have come right off in those areas. So if you're looking at the oversupply problem, it's mainly in the northern suburbs and the northeastern suburbs, up in there. If we look at the downturn and the stagnation, according to Matusik and the REIQ, that is really outside of Brisbane and in our regional areas like Gladstone, Mackay. Those areas are feeling it very badly at the moment. So if we come back to the western suburbs, which is obviously where we're based, and that is our core market, things are going quite well. It's actually very good buying at the moment, particularly if you're looking for those cheaper walk-up apartments that were selling for, say, $410,000, or in the late threes, 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 1 car. This time last year, you can now pick them up in the early to mid 300s, and that can still get you cash flow positive after about 3 years. If you're a first home buyer, definitely go for units. Who says that you can't buy into the property market and that it's unaffordable? Buy one of these smaller units in the walk-up blocks, or walking distance to your main centres and your station. You can't go wrong in the future, and just do a good refurbishment. They're going to be great buying. See you next time.